Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is your girl KayKaySlays. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If this is your first time ever seeing me, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, then of course leave a hi, leave a comment. We will start my journey in 30 seconds. All right, as always, please remember to like this video, share the video with a friend. Of course, we're doing this to encourage our fellow naturalistas and our fellow Black women. So share the video with a friend. And as always, subscribe to the channel so that you never miss an upload from this channel. I have exciting content coming every week and you don't want to miss it. So today with me, I have the beautiful Gabřellé Cummings, and I'm going to be interviewing her today on her hair and her journey with her natural hair. So Ms. Gabřellé Cummings is 23 years old, and she is a trained secondary educator who's currently attached to the East Ruimveldt Secondary School. So everybody from East Ruimveldt, big up yourself, your teacher is here. She's a very outspoken individual, and she loves to live loud and free. That's something that we have in common. She has few regrets, but nothing life-altering. She loves her natural hair, every follicle of her hair, and she advocates for Black men and women to finally be able to wear their hair to work, to school, or to any environment that they seem fit. She is also Miss Emancipation 2018, and she currently holds the position of director within the organization. She uses this platform to fulfill her dream of having young Black persons more self-aware yet in love with their natural kinks and curls. So to everyone that's viewing, please put your hands together virtually and help me welcome Ms. Gabřellé Cummings to the KayKaySlays My Hair, My Journey platform. Welcome, 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 Gabřellé. Please give her welcome.
Hello.
Yes, thank you very much. I see we already have some love coming in from Mr. Andre Appley, who says, Ms. Cummings, you're already receiving love. And so we're very happy, very, very happy to have you. You were definitely somebody I wanted to reach out to because I have seen your work and I am truly proud and very much appreciative of what you're doing to help channel our cause as Black women who choose to wear their hair out. I was having a bad hair day today, that's why I have this wig on. But other than that, I would have had, you know, yes. So, but I thank you so much for what you're doing. And my encouragement to you is to continue doing what you're doing for us. And let's lift each other up in this fight together. So let's get straight into this interview. And of course, if you have your questions, please leave them in the comments below and Ms. Gabřellé Cummings will tackle them. We're just here to have a conversation about our hair or journey. So my first question for you is, how long have you been natural?
Okay, well, January of this year actually made it 4 years since I'm natural. So
congratulations.
That's a huge accomplishment. I actually started in 2016. I started transitioning, but I actually cut everything off and went boycott in 2017, early 2018. So
wow.
It's actually right now, I would love to say that my hair is actually in its prime. So yes, I'm enjoying it right now.
I understand. So you said that you cut it all off, which is something I didn't do. I transitioned all the way through. So how was it like for you doing the big chop? Like what motivated you then to just say, okay, I'm just cut this thing all off and just go ahead with it?
Well, I think my big chop was something that was pending since I started transitioning. Because unlike many naturals, I had a very unorthodox introduction to the natural hair world. From a very young age, my godmother used to straighten my hair from the age of 12. As soon as I got into secondary school, my hair was straightened. And then she passed away in 2016. And at that point, I did not know what to do because she was my go-to person when it came to hair. And I remember being at teachers training college, CPC, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen to me? Because I used to have my hair steamed every week, and I would put in the chemicals every, like, let's say about a month or two, because my hair would turn back very quickly. So I remember the week before she died was the last time I put in any chemicals in my hair. And I was panicking the month after, and I was in a frenzy. So I said, you know what, let me just leave it as that. But coming down to 2017 and early 2018, I realized that a lot of the reactions I got from persons and how persons viewed me as an individual just because my hair was no longer silky straight and slicked back in a bun was kind of disturbing. So I actually did it out of spite. I was like, listen, if you don't even like how my hair is when it's okay in two ways, because the ends were straight and everything
the front was
natural, kinky, exactly. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna kill two birds with one stone. And I walked in the barbershop, and I never felt freer. I honestly never felt freer.
Oh, I've spoken to some people that have been through the big chop, and they said the exact same thing, that cutting their hair off was such a freeing experience for them. So I'm happy for you that it was a freeing experience for you as well. That's such an interesting story. I'm sorry for the loss of your godmother, but I'm happy that, you know, we're able to still, you know, find a way to fix your hair and grow, and your hair is very beautiful, if I must say so myself.
Thank you.
So I'm happy that, you know, that you were able to grow your hair out. So what is one piece of advice that you wish that you received during your natural hair, or let's say before going into your process, or while even during your process? What was one thing that you wish somebody told you?
I wish someone had told me that there was nothing wrong with my hair that was growing out of my scalp. I wish that my natural hair wasn't demonized to me, and it wasn't seen as untidy. If I was told that, you know that your hair is beautiful and you don't really need to put the chemicals, I think I would have been in my mental state when it comes to my natural hair would have been different. My approach to joining the natural hair movement would have been different. So just that piece of advice, if I was told that it was beautiful, even if I wanted to straighten it on my own, the path would have been very different for me.
Yeah. I just wanted to, that's so true, because one of the reasons why I started this My Hair, My Journey was because I felt too like our hair was being demonized. It was being deemed not acceptable. And I couldn't understand how, if this thing is growing from my scalp, how can you tell me that it's not acceptable to wear it? Like, I never truly understood that. And I also too wanted to use this platform to, you know, highlight some of the injustices we face, even with public institutions, who we're told point blank period that you can't wear your hair like that, so it's better you go straighten it. So I really do appreciate you know, talking about that, and that's advice that we can give to our fellow naturalistas. Your hair is beautiful, and you need to wear your hair out, let your fro out, and you just rock your hair. Don't let anybody tell you that the hair that grows from your scalp is not beautiful. We have a question here for you from Joshua Mason, who says, which barbershop, because clippers is the best. So can you tell him which barbershop you went to do your big?
Okay, I went to Exclusive Barbershop. That is on Orange Walk, on the side with the market. So yeah, that's my barber from very young. So I've been going to him for a while for my eyebrows, but now he does my trimming and everything. So yeah.
If you're looking for a barbershop, then, you know, Exclusive is the place to go on Orange Walk. We have a shout out from Mr. Andre Athley, who says future Mrs. Athley. So shout out to you, and thank you very much for allowing future Mrs. Athley to come on here and to share her journey with us. I really do appreciate that. So thank you very much. So that is so amazing. Let me just pull up my other question. So have you been the victim of any sort of discrimination due to wearing your hair naturally?
To be honest, I have, and it was in the most surprising way possible. And it was one of the most iconic periods in my life, because that is when I was really influenced into pushing for there to be change in our institutions. As I would have said, 2017, 2018 is when I would have done the big chop and, fully come into myself when it comes to my natural hair. I was on teaching practice at my alma mater, this in Stanislaus College, and I was very excited. But the thing is, remember, I would have been to school with nice, straight, sleek.
Yeah.
So there was about a month period where we actually go into the schools and teach before we graduate. So I wasn't there and I was teaching, and I didn't notice it, but apparently it was happening that a lot of the girls in the school, because they used to ask me why I'm natural and so forth, and a lot of them started to just tie the ribbon around their hair. At this time, my hair would have been a lot smaller, so I had a tiny little puff, and I would pull the little bandeau, and that's how I would have stepped out. So the girls started just pulling their ribbons around and coming into school. And one morning at assembly, our head teacher at the time, she stood on the stage. There were other teachers who were natural, but I guess because they were natural for so long, it didn't make an influence on the students. They met them like that. But when my former head teacher stood on the stage, she was like, you see, all of you who decided to pull y'all hairs up and put a ribbon around, that is not a good hairstyle for school. That is inappropriate. And I'm standing there and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
And my students started looking at me because I joined CBC fresh out of school. So the students from third form and up, they would have known me as a student who came back as a teacher. So they all looked directly at me, and she saw the eyes towards me, and she turned and she was like, listen, don't bother with Miss Cummings. When she was a student here, her hair was straight. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know what happened to her. And I'm just standing, I'm looking at her. But you throw me under the bus.
Exactly.
But when that happened, I looked at my students. I was like, okay, just leave it as that. I stood there and I smiled because I really didn't know what to do. And years after I met up with her, and I asked her, I said, Miss, why? Why did you do that? It was uncalled for. The hair of these children, it wasn't affecting anybody. I even asked her, what did you expect for them to do with their hair? Because I'm talking very low afros, not the girls with big hair pulling it up in one. Girls who probably did the big chop themselves. And so forth. So I was like, Miss, what hairstyle you expect these children to do with like 4 inches of hair? And she was like, well, it's the school rules. She's retired now, so it's the school rules and this is it. And Miss herself, she was one of those teachers who always had the straight hair, one pattern suit, very straightforward, very great teacher as well. But that one incident really stuck with me. Yeah. And that was the first time that I had an issue with my natural hair being policed. And that's really the one that stuck with me.
That's so interesting. So if you don't mind me asking, how is it now? Because you are now attached to the East Ruimveldt Secondary School. So how is it like now that you wear not, and your puff is much bigger now. So how is it there, if you don't mind me asking? You can say skip question if you don't want me.
Well, at first, it wasn't an issue. Everything was good. We had a lot of natural hair teachers around and so on. And of course, when I got to the school, we had that particular year, we had a good amount of persons who started teaching at the school. We had about 4 or 5 new teachers at the school who entered the school as naturals. And of course, as teachers, we influenced our colleagues. Yeah. And a lot of our colleagues started going natural. And then that would have been the year that I won Miss Emancipation. So I was talking to my students, and a lot of my students started going natural. And then it became an issue because the girls are exactly. So we were advised by
that's what we're putting it.
Yes, by some members of the Ministry of Education. And, we need to be good examples and, fix our hair. And a lot of our colleagues fixed their hair, but of course I didn't. I just nicely reminded them that I am not under their rules. I'm not a student. I'm an adult. Yes. I'm a teacher. But what they're doing, telling our students to chemically fix their hair, still is wrong. But we need to remember that Guyana is still stuck on their archaic rules. So a lot of the students had to stick to that. And what ended up happening is that, remember the puff, this simple hairstyle is one of the easiest for children to do. You just pull something and you're out the door. But right now, according to the rules, it needs to be plait in. So we have a lot of children who probably don't have that help at home, that parent or that mother figure, someone to plait their hair. They started having issues. So what started happening after the fact is that a lot of my students would come to school. They don't know what to do with the hair. They got it in all sorts of ways. And I ended up having to start walking with products and walking with combs and helping my students. So a lot of mornings you would see me in class and I'm busy trying to fix them before they go to assembly, because if they go to assembly with their hair like that, they'll get in trouble. But as it is right now, with helping them fix their hair and so on, it's relatively good because I'm able to help them. But what happens in other schools where where teachers might not have the time to help their students? Some mornings I don't have the time to help my students, and it's an issue. And a lot of times when other teachers would speak to our students about their hair being too out, mind you, this is the hairstyle. They have on their ribbons and their hair is wild and all out. They would run coming and they'd be like, but Miss so-and-so told me that they have to fix my hair. I'm like, listen, don't argue. Just have a few more years. I would help them put it in. But that is one of the reasons why myself and my colleague Marissa Scott started the Miss Emancipation Hair Stories, because in order to help our students, not just at East Ruimveldt Secondary School, but to help our students across the country, that rule about the plait in, it needs to go. Because how do you expect us to get a nice, long, sleek ponytail from 4C hair like this? Exactly. You understand? And even other textures of natural hair is encouraged, but you would have someone with 4A or even 3C hair, and because it is, let's say, less kinky than this, you can put it in the plait and you can pull it down, but you can't do that with 4C hair unless you pack the world of gel in your hair, which is very unhealthy. So,
and then with my hair too, with gel, that's like 2 hours, and then it starts frizzing again. So gel doesn't really help me and my frizz at all. So I get it. I just want to say thank you very much for helping our young ladies who are going through the struggle. I remember when I was getting ready to start sixth form, and I was told that I would have to braid my hair all back, and that was probably like one of the worst things I could have heard, because it wasn't conducive to me to braid my hair all back every day, because my edges are super weak and 2 pullings and it's literally gone. And so I wish that I had somebody at the time, a teacher, to advocate for students like myself who were told we couldn't wear our hair a certain way because we were told that we had to braid it back, and that wasn't conducive and helpful to our hair. So I want to thank you and applaud you for helping your students at your school. And I hope that we have more teachers who will help and who will fight and advocate for the students that choose to wear their natural hair. We have a question here for you from Andrea Harmon, who says, I'm natural, but I've lost my hair in the front due to weaves and perms. Do I stand a chance at my hair growing back at my age, 55 to 56 years old? What can you advise, Andrea? You can go ahead.
Okay, Andrea, you can grow your hair at any age. That's the best thing about hair, because it is a replenishing part of our body. Your hair constantly grows. What may happen is that while it's growing, maybe you didn't take care of it properly, and as you would have mentioned, the weaves and so on, pulling on the edges. Just ease it up a little bit. Use your oils and your extracts, and it will come in time. It's just patience. That's all you need with our hair, patience.
Thank you very much. We have a comment from Miss Sandra Hart who says, your hair is beautiful and Miss Gabrielle is beautiful as well, fearfully and wonderfully made. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We have a question here from Miss Shanti Tufane who says, were you ever frustrated with your natural hair to the point where you wanted to straighten it again?
Yes, I have. And it's funny that you should mention it because I actually have a great support system. I actually have two friends, Abida Alexander and Keisha James. They are also teachers. And
shout out to you guys.
yes, so the three of us, we have natural hair, some very big pros. And there was one point where I really wanted to straighten my hair in 2019. I was tired. I had a lot to do. I ended up taking on CSEC classes, so that's SBAs, and I had third form classes. And so work was catching up with me, and everything was just going all over the place. And I considered going to straighten my hair, but having a support system is important because those women sat me down. They're like, listen, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go and buy some braiding hair and we're going to make sure that this doesn't change. You can do all sort of things because I'm a person, I grew up with a lot of brothers. So I don't have any sisters to practice on. So actually working with my students and helping them with their hair is where I actually learned to do my hair as well. And a lot of YouTube tutorials and so on. So this is basically what you'll see me with all the time, or even with the fro really big and out. But they really encouraged me to learn to braid my hair and not pull it too tight so that the edges, but they really were a support system. And that's the most important thing, having a support system. Also, sometimes you may just want to change, okay? And you may want to see your hair straight. My advice would be that if you want to see it straight, don't go directly to chemicals. Try a blowout. Okay? It's actually good to have a blowout once in a while. Just don't do it every week you blow out your hair because then you face heat damage. So if you want to see a little change and you want to see how your hair looks differently, you just do a blowout and you're good. So you get to see that change. You get to see that little straightness. Even if it's out of frustration, you get to ease yourself a little bit. Or like me, if I do a blowout, it literally lasts me like 2 hours. So yeah.
I know the struggle.
So I have faced the frustration, but a support system was there for me. And so I didn't really do it.
That's great. We have a comment here from Ms. Kisa Hart who says, I remember one time the principal of my high school posted an assembly telling all the females to wear their hair neatly and use straight hair girls as example of what neat hair is.
Well,
I can't tell you the amount of times that has happened where you're standing in an assembly and there's other girls with the inches. The straight hair and the inches are using an example. And I'm like, so where is my example? Are you trying to subliminally tell me that my hair is not neat?
It's untidy, exactly. And you know what's the funny thing about it? I remember going into sixth form and I had straight hair in sixth form. But even then, my straight hair was being policed because the very first day of school at the Bishop's High School, I was in assembly and a prefect approached me and I was told to take out, I don't know if you know the Molly.
Yeah.
The round. Yeah. I had to take out my Molly in assembly because that was not acceptable at the time. So that confused me. But I was like, at the time I was like, you know what? I'm new here. Let me just follow the rules. So I followed the rules there, but I never understood why a Molly was not seen as acceptable. That even when your hair is straight, it's as though black hair is still policed. Whether it's straight or whether you keep it natural, you're still being told that it's unacceptable. So what are black girls supposed to do? Because if you're going to show me the straight hair girls and tell me that that is neat, if I go and put in a straight weave, I'm going to be told that that is inappropriate for school. So
but
that's why we're trying to see if we can get the rules set.
Yeah, with my high school, I basically eventually, by the time I hit like fourth form, I was wearing one hairstyle because every other hairstyle was an issue. But there was a girl in my class who would straighten her hair and then stick tracks inside of her head, and she was never told anything about her hair. But to that story, I digress. But I'm just saying that sometimes it can be a double standard in our educational system, unfortunately. Now we have a question from Mr. Andre Athlete who says, "What new rules would you set in place to replace the archaic rules that currently exist in Ghana?"
Okay, well, the new rules that I would set in place, of course, is that you can't have your natural hair out and about if it's past a certain length, because you don't want too big of a fro. And if the person is short and you have to sit in front of the class, they would block the students behind them. So, of course, if your natural hair is too big, you're going to have to pull it up and, fix it right. But if you have short natural hair, just do the puff. The puff would be one of the rules that we would want to put in place because, of course, it's one of the easiest hairstyles to do. We would have to tell them that we don't need any colors, because I know some children would push their luck and say, oh, we have new rules and let's put in colors. And I think that is what a lot of people don't understand with the movement. Yes, we want to change the rules, but we don't need to change it that much. You understand? Because you're not supposed to have colors as a straight hair student. So there's no reason for you to want to slightly change it brown if you're going to be wearing your natural hair. So just, if this is your natural hair, wear it in a puff. If you want to put it in cornrows, sure, but it's not going to be set in stone that you have to wear cornrows. So just ensure that it is manageable and not in the way of other students. That would basically be the rule.
Great. We have a lot of comments and questions coming in. You have another one from Sandra Hart. This says, "Would be great if you can tell us how you maintain your natural hair, how often you wash and steam, stuff like that."
Okay, well, I would consider myself one of the lazy naturals. I'm sorry, but I don't have a set routine. Like, okay, every week I'm gonna do this, I'm going to do that, and so forth. My go-to products, believe it or not, are Blue Magic and Maurice Beeswax. So yeah, I tried Cantu at first, but what I noticed is that my hair would get brittle, and of course that's my personal thing. So if you use Cantu, hooray to you. And I used to try the argan oil curling cream, but then I sweat a lot in my head, so that would run. So that is why I end up thinking to myself, you know what mommy used to do before I straighten my hair. And I remember Blue Magic, Maurice Beeswax, and believe it or not, VO5 shampoo and conditioner. So that's what I use. And, of course, some edge control for when you're going out and you want to be fancy. But I would wash my hair about every 2 weeks because I don't want to wash it too often. My scalp gets dry sometimes. So I would wash every 2 weeks, and sometimes I would put it in twists. It depends on my mood, really. If I have the energy to put it in twists, I put it in twists. But of course, I just happen to have it nearby.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go.
Silk bonnet.
Yes.
So just ensure that it's covered at night, because sometimes with moisturize your hair is so lovely, and then you wake up in the morning and it's dry, the style hasn't kept, and all these different things. So yeah, that's about it for
your hair regimen.
Yes. A lot of times when I tell people that.
No, go ahead.
A lot of times when I tell people my hair regimen, they don't believe me. And I even got someone telling me the other day that I'm not really a 4C because, if I'm using Blue Magic and water and my hair is like that, I can be 4C, but
it is what it is.
That's it. Yeah.
Exactly. We have a comment here from Ikea Thompson who says, "I honestly thought that things would change in tertiary education, but I had my foreign language lecturer ask me why I don't braid my hair and look presentable like my friends." These are some very awful things to tell people about their hair, and I'm very sorry that you had to go through that, Ikea.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The tertiary institutions sometimes are the worst because even when I started transitioning at college, there were quite a few persons in our class who had natural hair and who were going natural and so on. But I remember a lecturer saying, I don't know why all y'all suddenly decide for you to keep your hair like that. And it was funny because at the Stereo-Potter College of Education, our principal and vice principal, they both have almost ankle length, gorgeous locks. And I couldn't understand why we were being, even the rules for CPC would say, oh, your hair has to be kept and all these different things. One time I had one streak of white in a wig and I couldn't sit an exam. And they were like, oh, you can't go in the exam because you have this one streak of white in the wig. I took the wig off right in front of him. And he was like, and I was like, and I went to the exam right there without the wig, and I sat the exam, and then I was called to the office and all sort of things. So the tertiary institutions, they too need a revamping when it comes to their rules with natural hair.
I totally agree. We have another question from IKEA who says, I recently saw that in Jamaica, dreadlocks will no longer be accepted in school systems. What are your thoughts?
Whew. That particular issue, I remember seeing that issue the day before the natural hair, the emancipation hair stories began. That came out July 31st. And I looked at the headline and I'm like, are you kidding me? The land where Bob Marley comes from. You're going to tell me that locks are not allowed in school. A Caribbean nation is saying that Jamaica. And I even saw a lot of memes coming out of it where you have people showing their judicial system, they still wear the white wigs.
Yeah.
And that's just to show how colonialism is still ingrained in our society very heavily. And if we don't try and push and make a change now, our children and their children are going to have to be fighting the same fight. And that's one thing I want to take off of their chest right away before they even appear in this universe. Because it really doesn't make sense. It's just, even their reasoning for it makes no sense. I remember one particular reason was that it smells. And that is a stereotype that needs to be disregarded I just get so heated whenever I hear about that because how dare they? But I'm just sitting here, I'm like, I just hope no one in Guyana takes it out of their thoughts because it really makes no sense. Some of our best doctors, some of our best lawyers, bankers, people who we hold in high esteem have natural hair, have long, luscious, beautiful locks. And you're going to tell me that it's no longer allowed in school?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Exactly. We have another question here from Miss Sarah Hart who says, have you ever tried wild growth hair oil and would you recommend it?
I actually haven't tried it. I want to, but I haven't really put a lot of oils in my hair. So since we're in quarantine, I'm experimenting with a few things. So I would try that sometime.
I hear you. So we have another question from Sandra Hart who says, so you don't cut your hair to sleep?
As I would have said, I only do it sometimes. Most times I just pull on the bonnet and that's it. But if anything, I don't really part it. I would part it in 4 and put some pom-poms on and that's about it. And parting it in 4 is just to be better able to manage it when I'm combing it out. So.
Yeah, definitely. We have another question from Shanti Tafin who says, what is your hair length goal?
My hairline goal is as long as possible. As long as possible. But it's kind of ironic because once my hair reaches a certain length, I go to the barber for a trim. So I'm kind of being counterproductive on that part. I would like to say that realistically, I'm at a point where this hair that I have right now is longer than what I usually have because of coronavirus and so on. I haven't been to my barber since March. So my hair is very uneven in different parts. It would grow very long and then very short. And so, yeah. I love to go as long as possible, but when it comes to evening it out, it's kind of difficult.
I understand. So my final question for you today is what can you leave a piece of encouragement or advice for fellow naturalistas?
Okay, well, something that I would love to have as advice for me that I love to give to them would be to love yourself however you are comfortable. Don't let anyone tell you that any part of you or any part of your body is unattractive because they don't like it. It's not in their best interest for you to love yourself.
Exactly.
So that's just about it.
That is such an amazing piece of advice. We have a message here from Sandra Hart who says, congratulations to both of you, KayKay and Gabbrell. Keep up the great jobs that you are doing. Wishing you well on your hair journey. Thank you very much. Gabbrell, it has been honestly a pleasure having this conversation with you. I want to thank you so much for joining. I wish you all the best on your future endeavors. Guys, please go on Facebook and like the Miss Emancipation page. I have left the link to that page in the comment below. Please support Gabrielle and what she's doing. I also follow her on Instagram at miss.proper. I hope I said it right. You can follow her on Instagram as well and show her some love on the gram as well. Do you have anything else that you want to plug, or is that it, the Missy Max? Do you have any other businesses or anything else? You go ahead and plug your businesses, girl.
Well, at the moment, I don't have a business, but I'm quite enjoying myself over on TikTok. It's the same. It's the same at miss.proper. And I'm doing hair tutorials and makeup tutorials and so on over there, so they can go across there and enjoy the content.
Yeah, so please follow her on Instagram and TikTok at miss.proper. Thank you very much once again for being a part of my journey. For everyone watching, please continue to like. Thank you. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that we can continue to have a very much needed conversation about the beauty that is our hair. Thank you very much for joining. Until next time, this is your girl KayKaySlays saying bye.
Bye.